The protesters there are chanting, "Shame, shame, shame." And they are chanting that because yesterday the North Carolina State House voted to override the veto of the Democratic governor, Roy Cooper, and force a 12-week abortion ban into law. And part of what makes the legislature's move so incredible here is that it came down to just one vote. It came down to a stunning about-face by North Carolina State Representative Tricia Cotham. Last year, less than 12 months ago, Tricia Cotham ran as a Democrat. Here is her campaign website. It is, I kid you not, democrattriciacotham.org. Cotham won her race, again, just months ago as a Democrat. She beat her Republican opponent by a whopping 19% of the vote. This was not a close one. This was not a nail-biter. Her constituents wanted a Democrat representing them. And then last month, Tricia Cotham switched parties. She said she had been bullied by other Democrats and that they pushed her out. Now, we do not know enough to confirm or deny those claims, but we do know that in doing that, Tricia Cotham gave Republicans a supermajority that would ensure Republicans were veto-proof. And so Tricia Cotham, who ran as a Democrat, became the deciding vote to override the governor's veto and put a 12-week abortion ban into law. As wild as Tricia Cotham's about-face is, what is more concerning here is that Republicans were even close to a supermajority at all. Just this month, the group Carolina Forward polled on this specific 12-week ban. 54% of likely voters opposed a 12-week abortion ban. Only 40% supported it. So how did this all come down to Tricia Cotham's one vote? How did Republicans have enough votes to not just pass this thing, but to override Governor Roy Cooper's veto? How is the will of the people so far away from the work of the legislature? Joining us now is North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. Governor, thank you so much for being here tonight. I'll just get right to it. Do you think Republicans, given the polling, given the numbers in terms of support for this abortion ban, do you think Republicans will pay a price for their actions yesterday?
Yes, they will. It's pretty clear that partisan gerrymandering on steroids caused this today because the majority of North Carolinians do not want right-wing politicians exam room with doctors and women. All we needed was one vote. People are angry. Women feel slapped in the face with this bill that came at them so fast. And every single Republican, even those who promised to protect women's reproductive freedom, those Republicans in swing districts, every one of them voted for this ban. And this shows us that Republicans are unified in their assault on women's reproductive freedom. Now, they tried to do this really fast, Alex. They passed this law in 42 hours. It took them 42 hours to turn the clock back 50 years, allowed no amendments, no public input, and ran it through. I had 10 days to veto it. We went across the state. We held forums. We held a rally. People rose up and said, we're not going to take this. But as soon as I vetoed it and handed it back to them the first legislative day, they overrode the veto. All we needed was one Republican to stand up, and they didn't do it. They tried to do it so fast that they didn't want to light a fire under Democrats and independents. But guess what? Too late. That fire is blazing, and you're going to see people all over North Carolina come to the polls and work to make sure that we break the supermajority in 2024, to make sure that we elect a Democratic governor, because I'm term limited and I can only serve for a little over a year and a half more, and to make sure we take this state for President Biden. And I believe that we can.
It feels decidedly undemocratic, the actual bill itself, but then the way in which it was passed. And I want to talk a little bit about something you mentioned, the gerrymandering that has given the Republicans the supermajority. Now, we know for years North Carolina Republicans have been trying to gerrymander the state. I believe it was last month the North Carolina State Supreme Court effectively ruled in their favor. So they have the green light to do this to an even more extreme, it sounds like. Is that right?
Well, last year, we had a Supreme Court that was Democratic. And you really shouldn't have courts run in partisan races, and this legislature turned everything back partisan again. But the Democratic Supreme Court, well, it was a close vote on the court, but what it did was rule that partisan gerrymandering was unconstitutional in North Carolina. And with fair maps, we sent 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans to Congress, showing that North Carolina is a truly 50-50 purple state. But Republicans won in 2022. We lost some ground in the state legislature. That's why it came down to 1 vote. And the Supreme Court reversed itself. And so they're now busily drawing maps. For the last 4 years, I've had a veto. We've had enough Democrats to sustain my veto. We've been able to hold off bad abortion bans and discrimination and attacks on voting rights. But now we are 1 vote short in both the House and the Senate. We're going to work to bring Republicans along on issues. We were able to get a bipartisan agreement to expand Medicaid in North Carolina just a few months ago. We were able to get a bipartisan agreement on clean energy. Those are things we're going to continue to work on. But make no mistake, North Carolina Democrats are going to be ready in 2024. And even with gerrymandered districts, we're going to put at the top of the list making sure that we have enough Democrats elected to make sure that we can sustain a veto with, we hope, to be a newly elected Democratic governor to take office in 2025. That's critically important. We Democrats need to pay more attention to governor's races and to state legislative races. Your zip code shouldn't determine your constitutional right, but that's what the U.S. Supreme Court has done by overturning Roe v. Wade. The battles have moved to state capitals and state legislatures. I was chairman of the Democratic Governors Association last year, and we were able to end up with +2 Democratic governors. And in crucial states like Wisconsin and Michigan and Arizona and Pennsylvania, we were able to elect Democratic governors. And that's going to be important as we approach 2024, particularly in protecting democracy and protecting people from these terrible laws that MAGA Republicans now clearly have control of their party. And we know where they're going with bad legislation. It's more important than ever for people to vote and to make sure they vote all up and down the ballot, because every single election is important.
Governor, why do you think Republicans do this on abortion in particular?
Well, I think really gerrymandered districts have something to do with it, because I think you see Republicans in these very red districts only worry about primary opposition, and they look at it politically, so they get as far to the right as they possibly can. This is why we need independent redistricting commissions in every state. It's very difficult to redistrict in a fair way, but you can do it. And in North Carolina, they've taken this to a technologically diabolical extreme. They can go house by house. We have seen them draw congressional districts that have ended up 10-4. And they said the only reason it was 10-4 because they couldn't figure out a way to make it 11-3. That's the extreme that they go to. And I think that affects the kind of legislation that they consider. And all of them are following Donald Trump, too. So clearly you have a party that has lost its way, or either they found their way. And we know that Democrats and independents across North Carolina and across this country have to come out and be ready in 2024 to fight for our democracy, to fight for women's reproductive freedom, to fight for public education, health care, all of these things that we know are so critical.
Well, we know that abortion is one of those issues that gets Democrats and independents out. So we shall see. Governor Cooper, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks a lot, Alex.